There's been a breakthrough in the hunt for the source of Sydney's COVID outbreak. The cluster has been linked back to a man from Melbourne. Genetic testing shows he was most likely the person who brought the virus in after he crossed the Victorian border just days before it closed.
Dr Jennie Musto is the state's chief COVID detective, and now she and her team of contact tracers have uncovered the source of the southwestern Sydney outbreak.
The most likely link, supported by epidemiology, is that a man from Melbourne came into a workplace in Sydney, and then there was some transmission within that workplace, and then they all went to a party that night of the 3rd of July at the Crossroads Hotel. So this is where it all began.
The 50-year-old isn't a truck driver but works for a freight company. He arrived in Sydney on the 30th of June, a week before the Victorian border was closed. As many as 6 of his colleagues have also tested positive. Genomic sequencing of the virus has matched several of the initial cases to the Victorian outbreak.
We managed to link 2 earlier cases from Albury, one with a travel history to Melbourne, and the fellow from Katoomba with the man who has travelled from Melbourne, and they all are identical.
As infections spread, another 8 businesses have closed for deep cleaning, including Woolworths in Bowral, Hurricanes Grill in Brighton Le Sands, West Sleegs Club and the MacArthur Tavern in Campbelltown.
A bit too close to home. Now that it's a MacArthur hotel, I guess that's warning. I have a grandmother who's 70 years old, so, you know, it's pretty concerning.
Yeah.
Oh, don't tell me.
This is a stealthy virus. We need to maintain vigilance.
And the state government maintains it won't lock down postcodes. Instead, businesses and individuals have to share responsibility to do the right thing through social distancing, cleaning, testing and isolating. The Premier says suppression is the strategy.
Whilst we would all love to adopt a policy of elimination, it's, I think, unrealistic to assume we would get there. In fact, very unrealistic, and suppression is definitely the right strategy.
One that's now facing its toughest test. Antonette Collins, ABC News, Sydney.
Amid yet another high daily increase of COVID cases, the Victorian Premier has moved to quash rumours that a harsher lockdown is imminent. Almost 250 cases were confirmed overnight, and a woman in her 90s died in hospital. Despite the ever-climbing toll, many people still aren't taking the virus seriously.
The masked march towards Australia's COVID frontline is underway, with hundreds of ADF boots now on the ground to lend a hand, while police step up their work to catch out people who flout the rules.
A person ordered KFC and sat in the restaurant and refused to leave. 10 mates sitting together around a heater, consuming alcohol. A couple of mates out in the car travelling around playing Pokemon doesn't fit within those reasons to leave, and those males were issued with infringement notices.
So far, 546 fines have been issued. Young people are the worst offenders.
People playing poker, people holding parties. We're finding people in cupboards, we're finding people in garages. Please stop.
Cases remain high, with another 238 people testing positive. But the numbers have somewhat plateaued, with no new spike yet. But there are now more than 100 people in hospital, 27 in intensive care, most of them on ventilators.
1 in 100 or more die. So when we have 238 cases every day, we're looking at 2 to 3 deaths in a week or more's time.
Aged care remains a concern, with 40 residents and staff testing positive. Meatworks are also a persistent problem. The JBS abattoir cluster has grown to 21, and the number of infections linked to Somerville retail services in Tottenham is now 33. There is no imminent threat of a harsher lockdown, but if tougher restrictions are imposed, it could be focused on particular hotspots. The effectiveness of the current lockdown should start to show this weekend. If there's no change, the government is prepared to act.
I'm not foreshadowing stage 4. I'm simply speaking as plainly as I can. If people don't follow the rules, then additional restrictions become more likely.
It's something everyone wants to avoid. Richard William, ABC News, Melbourne.